All right, looks like we are live. Hello, everybody. Nicholas Ashbaugh here. Welcome to your weekly collective reading. Today, you picked a wonderful topic, which is all about being able to pull things into your sort of orbit. The special topic with the most votes was tractor beam, really attracting all of those positive energies and possibilities. And so thank you for choosing something unique. This one's been on there for a while. Basically being a magnet for opportunity was the second part of that. So when we take a look at our special topic in the latter part of the reading, we're going to see how you can open doors, maybe if there's any opportunities that are just within reach that may not be obvious, and more of that as we get into it. First things first, like I said, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. This little guy getting comfortable is Apollo, just took him on a walk. We're going to work together, all of us here, to take a look at the next 7 days. So let me just go ahead and put the quick overview of how this is going to get organized, and then we'll get into it, okay? I begin with channeled messages. And last night I was receiving a lot of different messages, actually. One of the key ones was about this sort of energy of being submerged in water and swimming. And so emotions may be running high right now, but what I got was this ability to basically kind of float through things, to basically sail through things, smooth sailing after you allow yourself this sort of like release. So we'll talk more about that in a second. Basically, channeled messages, it's me working with my guides or with dream interpretation. Then we'll get into the cards. And we'll go 7 days first. We'll look at the next 7 days, taking us from Sunday to Sunday. And then we'll get into some other portions today, which you can see below. All of that being said, before I begin, if you enjoy what you see here, please throw me a like and subscribe and opt into notifications if it's your first time here so you don't miss anything. You can also join me across social media. Pretty much everywhere, it's my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, with no changes. If there's any exceptions, they're listed below or they're on my website. A reminder that if you do follow me on social media, I don't offer private readings and I don't use direct messages, so that's a good way to spot any of the imposters out there. If you'd like to give back and show support, this is the way that you can do it, through YouTube using memberships, super stickers, super chats, and super thanks. So you'll always know it's me. You'll always be able to connect with us here in real time. And that's basically just how to manage all of that. So let's get into the channeled messages first before we get into the 7-day forecast. Welcome, everybody, by the way. It's good to see you. I always enjoy seeing all the different parts of the world that are joining us today. So keep letting me know where you're coming from. I appreciate that. And thank you to Dakota, who's helping with all of the moderation. All right, so channeled messages here. Let me go ahead and pull up my presentation as we begin. As I said, there were a couple of things that I was picking up on. The first was this connection to the element of water. And then the second one was rapid movement. I was shown like a tornado moving quickly. The tornado in and of itself isn't something to be worried about. To me, it's more sort of like tower energy. And you may be trying to do too many things at once. So being able to slow down just a little bit. All right, I have the presentation ready. Let's go ahead and pull it up and begin. All right, so as we're looking at this, like I said, swimming was the first dream metaphor or image. Then I saw like a twister. And then I saw this interesting blend between divine masculine and feminine, and this feeling like you needed to adhere to one or the other. And we'll kind of talk our way through that next. First things first. It actually felt quite nice to be in the energy of water. And because if you've, we've all been at least in the tub at some point or the pool, you know that your weight is not as much. It's almost probably the closest we can get to being weightless up in space or something. You get this sense that the load is actually lightened. So I chose the 10 of Wands here because sometimes we feel like we need to carry the weight of the world on our back, right? Or we are carrying way too many responsibilities or too many things on our calendar. This is kind of a wake-up call to let it go and see what wants to sort of stick with you and see where the other stuff sort of floats. You don't have to hold on to everything all the time. And sometimes when you just sort of surrender to the flow of energy, it gets easier and you feel better. I also put the nurturing card of the Empress here because it felt very loving. It felt very kind. The pool of water that I was in was shallow, so I don't feel like the sense that there was a, like energetic drowning or anything. It was more about dipping your foot in and getting started, kind of like the Temperance Angel too. Just basically allowing yourself to surrender, relax, release, etc. If there's any sort of stress relieving activities like acupuncture, massage, sports, art, whatever it is that is your go-to, absolutely now is the time to do that. nurture yourself and take care of yourself, okay? Ultimately, I saw you swimming, not sinking, and that's a good thing. That tells me that you're going to be able to get through this next period of time. Also, if we take this in a very abstract but kind of amazing metaphor here, if we look at you as being the vessel of the Six of Swords, basically, instead of having someone steering the ship, instead of you being in the ship, you are the ship. Because if it's just you swimming, that's kind of what this is. It's saying it's time to move on. And each and every one of you is going to know what it is that you need to move on from. Could be a relationship, could be a job, could just be a way of thinking or living. But the movement's already happened. In fact, the next energy that I saw, the Twister, is saying it's better to get out now than wait for something like that to happen. So you're the vessel of change, and just figure out how and when. It's not a matter of if for that movement to happen. It's also a good time for you to establish boundaries, and if anyone kind of puts these sink or swim ultimatums your way, you're not going to really allow that to happen. Go with the energetic flow and choose to go where others may not. And realize maybe you're keeping to your boundaries, maybe breaking their boundaries, but it's basically you understanding this is what I need, this is what I want, and sort of staying cool, calm, and collected like the King of Cups is right there. Now for the next piece. I was shown this energy of like a twister, and basically to me, it's almost, you can look at this two different ways. One, you may have stayed too long in one of these situations that we just talked about. And it's almost like when you play a board game and you have to take that, like there's usually a little arrow and you flick it with your fingers and you have to see where to go next. Or like if we were to take the game show, the Wheel of Fortune, people spin it to see what their fortune is. The thing is, in real life, you are the agent of that movement and that change, and you're not beholden to the universe. So rather than waiting for a twister or spinning a wheel or flicking some sort of compass, you're going to decide what you want to do and how you're going to get there. And that's going to be important. Some things that could get in the way right now, I put groupthink, and that's kind of like an Orwellian term. But what happens sometimes is if you're in a group of people and everyone thinks the same way, and you're the only one that's kind of thinking differently, it may be difficult for you to get the support or the confirmation that you need that what you want is the right thing. You're going to have to trust yourself. Make sure that you do the research. Once you've done the research and if it feels right to you, then trust that that's the right thing to do. And just like Apollo's kind of going in circles, sometimes we have to look at a few different directions before we can get settled here. Stay grounded in your goal, vision, and plan. And as long as you know who you are, what you're doing, where you want to go, sometimes there's just chaos around you. And that's actually the next piece. So move beyond it. Let's say you are solid, you are stable, you are sure of yourself. There could be a person, place, or thing in your life that likes to cause chaos. People sometimes like to poke the bear, shake the hornet's nest, whatever metaphor you want to use. And what you want to really do in this situation is move beyond it. First of all, you can speak out against it, but sometimes if it's part of the environment and it's been there for a while, you may have limited capacity to make it change, particularly if it's part of like corporate culture or built-in culture of a place that you're, living, working, etc. There's only so much you can change there, and you have to decide, is it worth my energy? What else can I invest in? And why am I being limited by their imagination or their potential, etc.? Okay? So if there is this sort of energy of chaos or negativity, it is not necessarily something that is your responsibility to fix, especially if you weren't the cause of it, especially if it's not responding to your energy. There are only so many things in any given point in life that we can kind of control. So figure out what it is that you can control. Don't get pulled into the twister is basically what I'm getting with this. And then the final message, and this was the most... I felt a strong emotional pull to talk about this, but I saw a person that was being basically picked on because they didn't fit the sort of mold that was expected of them. So for a man, it might be sensitivity. For a woman, it may be assertiveness. For anybody, it may be something where age-wise or any sort of bias you can think of, it didn't make sense. The person was living their best life. I actually liked that they were standing up too in this situation too. They're like, I don't care, that's your sort of issue. So be your authentic self. And I love this strength card from Lightseer's Tarot because it shows that we should and can and have the right to kind of connect with our divine masculine and feminine sides, rather. We don't have to sort of be pigeonholed. Same thing with age. Ageism is a thing. So you're never too young or too old to make a change or to do what you need to do. Live and let live is the final bullet here, and I think it's the important thing. And if someone's trying to hold you back from finding that balance, that's also indicative of the fact that maybe you've outgrown that relationship or that connection. All right, so quickly let's review, and then we'll get into what's coming through for the week. So again, the first thing that I saw was letting go, releasing, and allowing yourself to swim to a new destination. For many of you, you've been carrying the load long enough. I think for many of you, you've been maybe compensating for people around you that haven't been doing everything. Just let it go. Let it float in other directions and allow yourself to get to the finish line. Take care of yourself during this period of time as well. If you're looking for a time indication, it's now. Now is the time to take action, and we actually see you as the vessel of change. Don't give in to ultimatums. Stand up for yourself, establish your own boundaries, go where others may not be willing or able to go. And that's your own energy that you're following here. These two slides go hand in hand. You may find it difficult to get your bearings because of the chaos around you. You may find that others are trying to distract you from this. And if that's the case, then clearly this isn't the sort of environment that you need to be in to thrive. Finally, and most importantly, we could have put the star just as well as the strength card, but I actually saw it as the divine, specifically in the dream, it was the divine feminine that wasn't allowed to come through, which is why I chose this. So the important thing here is whether it's the elevated divine feminine where she is strong and she is leading, or it's the sort of muted divine feminine where maybe just it's trying to express itself in any person. We all have the ability to be sensitive, to be nurturing, to be able to facilitate and create. And so whether you identify as male or female, you can connect with this. And we need to find balance for this in our universe at this time. And there's still some problems on the planet right now. So it was a message that needed to come through. So I am the medium, and I'm just bringing it through today for those of you that need to hear it. You can't put yourself in a box. Don't allow others to put you in a box either. Okay? And those are the messages for everybody today in this weekly collective. So I got to take this boot off again. I always forget when I come back from a walk with my dog here. Hopefully Monday this is off me for sure. We'll see. So again, we just moved through the channel messages. We're going to take a look next at the 7-day forecast, which is going to help us navigate all of the opportunities in the week ahead. And for this, let me see which deck I want to use today. I may use, let's see. I really enjoyed using the Fountain Tarot, the Field Tarot. I'm going to use Fountain today because it's been a while, so I know some of you like that too. All right, next 7 days, let's take a look and see what messages are coming through. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there's the devil, Thursday, Friday, next Saturday, and next Sunday. All right, let's break this down. Some beautiful cards here. It's interesting that we actually have the Lovers and the Devil because, as you know, these are opposite forces, oftentimes illustrated in very similar ways, but we'll break that down as we get into it. Let's start with today. So today is all about the vision work that you're doing. And I actually, earlier today, I did the single card pull for Sunday, and it was the Hierophant. And I said one of the important things to think about is that, we want freedom. We all want just to kind of like wing it and go with the flow. But it's so much more effective coming from someone who writes and also does stuff like this. You got to have a format. So that's something that took me time to do. I can decide to flip the format inside out if I want to on the fly, but I should at least know what I'm trying to accomplish. It gives you a chance to know what to expect. It gives me a chance to sort of like put things in an organized way. So the Hierophant is the organization, but this would also be the vision work that's a part of that. So the Two of Wands, I like this one because they're almost like chopsticks. It's saying, I want to take a taste of this. I want to try this out a little bit. Let me sample different things and see what fits for me. In the traditional Two of Wands, you would see someone with the whole world in their hands there and two different wands, one in the foreground, one in the background. learning from the past was something that I talked about in the one card pull for today, because we saw the Hierophant lifting things out of a box. So if you're feeling like you're stuck, take a look at what's worked before. Take a look at what's working with other people. Research. Research can actually be, and I know that sounds strange, but it isn't. Research is inspiring. When I studied undergraduate and I was like doing a more journalistic path, you had to go in and see what had been reported on before, what other people were saying. You could read something that could then trigger a thought or an idea. So I know it sounds, boring, but researching is really, really important. That's what I do before I show up here. I do a lot of things in the morning. I get up around 4:30 because I've got to do the one card pull. I have to get the slide together. I have to get everything laid out, figure out the decks. But I also research all the totems and figure out like, what are we going to talk about and how is this going to relate? And how am I going to pull all of these together into a cohesive whole? So give yourself time to research. It can really help you out. So that's my main message today is plan, research, think things through, and meditate. And the Two of Wands is a card of dreaming as well. So don't limit yourself until you've had a chance to explore all the opportunities, okay? So today's a good day just for kind of getting yourself out there and seeing what gets you inspired. If you need to talk to someone else about an idea, Two of Wands supports that. If you are just looking to move something forward, this is saying ground yourself again in what you're trying to do. Overall, the Two of Wands, you can't go wrong with it. It's a very good card. One thing that I would say is that you can always go a step further or learn a little bit more. This is a very expansive card, so try to avoid any limits today. That would be the only thing I would warn you of. Looking at Monday, what a great day. We have the World card. It's reversed, but there are a few cards in tarot that it doesn't matter, like Lovers is pretty good, Four of Wands, the World. There's a few cards where even when reversed, they're still good. Let's talk about why the card might be upside down and what Monday has to offer you. So we have the World reversed. Let's look at the World upright. We see expansion here. This is a really good card for those of you in business, anybody that wants to travel, and anyone that wants to take something and bring it to the next level. This card is for those of you in business. It can be about distribution, marketing, production, and basically any sort of channel or pipeline that could get something further out there. So it's a really good day for commerce, just as good as pulling the Wheel of Fortune, if not better, because it's even bigger. You may have to still kind of find the financial component of it, but it's good for connecting to people. You can't be a hermit. That's why this card is reversed. So if you have a tendency to want to just sort of like keep to yourself and be quiet, Monday is the day that you come out of your shell and you just sort of go for it because the world is waiting. The world could be a few people or many, but they're kind of waiting for you to show up. They want to see what you have to offer. And anything that you put out there has a really good chance of gaining speed and traction. Now, the World card in reverse could mean that the direction that you're taking might be counterintuitive or could be improved a little bit. So I see a lot of growth, but there could be a potential shift in direction that could help quite a bit. Because if we're thinking of, just I'm thinking of like counterproductive is what I got when I saw this. So try to avoid anything that is counterproductive, including any sort of thoughts and that we sometimes fall victim to. I can't do this, I won't do this, or I'm getting distracted, etc. But otherwise, it's a great day. Honestly, today and tomorrow, we're looking at really expansive energy. This could be your breakthrough day. A lot of planning and thought comes into play today, and then tomorrow we really see it all kind of like factoring out in a really great way. All right. If you're looking for the day that you could spend with friends, family members, or try to take an important meeting, we go from the expansive to the intimate. As we go to Tuesday, we have the Two of Cups. So let's look a little closer at this one. A lot of your power cards are reversed, interestingly enough, but that's going to be okay. The Two of Cups also is saying for you, you may benefit by going to someone else's place of business or their home or their turf, because that's going to allow them to be more at ease. Or you could find a neutral ground, and there's a little bit of compromise from both sides. Two of Cups reverse can mean just that both of you are happy, but neither of you are over the moon with something, and that is sort of perfect when it comes sometimes to finding the middle ground. So if you can just figure out where you want to give and take. And I think that this is a day where compromise is possible. There may be someone in your life that misses you. This can also be the Two of Cups reverse. It can be longing. You may miss someone, they may miss you. It's a good day to reach out and say, I miss you, I love you, I care about you, let's hang out. You can make a plan. Even if you're busy on Tuesday, you can decide another day of the week to meet up and just to let them know that you're thinking about them. It's also a great day for creativity. Anytime we get cups, but this is particularly like creative partnerships. So if you've been a little bit stuck and you're trying to figure out how to bring something to the next level, this is the day to partner up with someone. The only sort of tug of war is sort of who's the boss with this, because both of you, again, may have very clear visions and desires. So there's always going to be just a little bit of compromise necessary on Tuesday. As we get to the midweek, here's El Diablo. This is the tornado that I was seeing. So let's talk about the devil and why it's coming through. So this is a sort of non-traditional approach on the card. You can still see the two lovers here that are tethered together and the devil energy behind them. The restrictive piece of this is still very much intact with this. I'm going to pull the traditional lovers and devil card as we're talking, just for reference. But basically, with the devil card, a lot of times, maybe next to the tower or death, it's one of the more feared ones. All it basically is restrictions. So you may be, or a lack of availability or a lack of honesty. So one of the trickiest things that you may be dealing with midweek is somebody who says that they can do something, but they can't. So in business, check credentials and see, is this person for real, or are they kind of feeding you some baloney? The other thing is to make sure it's a reality check for yourself. So if you are being asked to do something that is unrealistic, say so. Don't get yourself into trouble. And the other thing with this is if you meet someone and you like them, but they're not available, like traditionally looking at a relationship, just move on from that too, because you deserve unconditional availability, etc. All right, so I pulled both cards because I think it's helpful to see how we don't want to sort of, I know it sounds funny, but you don't want to kind of like pigeonhole or demonize this card. Yes, it's the devil, but it's a lower version of something that's actually quite nice. So if we can, how can you elevate the devil card and bring it back into its original state, the lovers? The first thing is unconditional energy. So if there are people in your life that only allow you to be or do something a certain way, and if you don't or won't, they're like, it's my way or the highway. The highway may be better because there has to be a middle ground sometimes. And it can't be either or unless we're talking about, breaking the law or something of that nature. But if it's just preference or if it's just them kind of being a control freak, that's the other thing here, is that sort of controlling energy. So you want to liberate, because the main thing here is we see the lovers untethered, we see them looking face to face, and we see them guided by their higher angelic selves. And in this one, they're looking not quite at each other, they're more looking at the chain, and the energy is not as elevated. So anywhere you can elevate the conversation and bring it back to mutual interest, assume the best, and let go of something rather than holding on to something. Because sometimes we can be the chain that's in the devil's card saying, I don't, like, if it can be this way, sort of like, if I can't have you, no one can, or I don't want to let this go because it's comforting or it's predictable, or I'm stuck, I'm trapped, I can't get out. And sometimes that's self-fulfilling. So we want to remove all of those shackles that we can sometimes put on ourselves. But let's talk about what to do and not do. I don't think this is a great day for contracts. Monday would be better. Tuesday would also be okay. Wednesday, no. Don't sign a contract. Don't try to have a key negotiation that day. It would be a good day to research and figure out how something ended up this way. It would be a good day maybe to, if you guys can't agree on something, you can go for a third party and see if they can kind of sort things out. But I think the best work you can do is on yourself, because the devil is a card that happens because there's something within that needs to be dealt with. So what's your fear? What's your anxiety? Work on that on Wednesday. And then use tools that the devil doesn't like. These would include honesty. Just be real. Transparency. Again, another form of honesty, but really trusting people and letting them see the process. Also encouragement. Walking away, and then like instead of hate, love. Instead of resentment, forgiveness. It's kind of like the prayer of St. Francis, where it's a prayer of opposites. You could look at that prayer, and basically reverse anything, and it's alchemic. So it's a great prayer to look up. You don't have to worry about what religion it is or whatever. It's just about taking opposite energy and transmuting the negative. That's why I like it. So that's a cool starting ground for that. In that prayer, it's basically like where there's hatred, love, where there's, sadness, hope, or whatever. You basically reverse the energies. So try to go at it from a different angle. Okay? I think that's the most important thing. Be open-minded, be honest, be kind, and you should be able to navigate Wednesday with ease. All right, let's go to what's coming through on Thursday. And I really do think it is something that you can overcome. It could just be a fear. We don't have to overthink this. Now we have the 10 of Wands, which I featured also in the channeled messages. So this is the day where maybe there's a little bit of this perfectionist energy that's coming through. You don't have to do everything. You can, and you can do it well, but you don't have to do everything. You're also much closer to a resolution or to things being done than you think. I like that this 10 of Wands is kind of like a wheel. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to reinvent a process. So one thing that you can do at the end of the week is basically, at the end of the day on Thursday is just decide, you know what, this has worked. I'm going to go with it. We're going to finish this, and then I'm going to move on to something else. Because I really do feel like part of this journey is just to finish what you started and then think of what's next, okay? This is a good day for traveling, for reaching out, for pushing send or pushing deliver on something and letting it go, okay? Let's take a look here. Now let's go to Friday. We have the 9 of Pentacles, and the 9 of Pentacles is in reverse here. So the cool thing with the 9 of Pentacles is it's sustainability, it's basically abundance, and it's a good day for money. But the reversal of this is also one of the messages that I keep echoing through this week, which is you don't have to do this alone. Possibly one of the most fiercely independent cards in the minor arcana. You're so close to completion that sometimes you forget to ask for help or lean on someone with this. So one of the messages with the 9 of Pentacles is that you have more resources available to you if you reach out or if you accept some assistance. Missing from this card is the snail. The snail represents, for some of you, also coming out of your shell and sort of like being more out there, because this is a reclusive card. But it also says it takes time to get where you want to go. So don't take unnecessary shortcuts. Sometimes the long and tried and true path is the best one. So, take your time, be more open to external assistance, be more transparent what's going on, let people know where you're at. You don't have to finish it and do it and make it be all perfect before you let them in and see like, oh yeah, here's the work in progress. You might save yourself more time down the road by letting them see it, because they could help course correct before something's completely done and it requires a redo or remake. This is a good day to ask for the money or the support that you need, or to try to sell something, because we're seeing an abundance on this. So you get most of what you're looking for, maybe minus 10% or something. So all in all, the week is looking pretty good. We'll summarize best and not so great days before we wrap up here, but I want to first get to the weekend now. Looking at a week from now, we're looking at next Saturday. We have the Lovers in reversed. So this is when things start to turn around, maybe in relationships and partnerships, if there's been any arguments or fights or challenges midweek. I see forgiveness. I see opening up here on Saturday. This is a magnet card. I used the metaphor of a tractor beam and a UFO, but the magnet was also in my teaser graphics. So this is one of the most magnetic days, followed up maybe by Monday. So I would say if there's something you need or want or are trying to accomplish, next Saturday, 6 days from now, is very, very good to make that happen. It's also one of the best days for meeting up. Most of your affectionate cards here, the 2 of Cups, and the Lovers were both reversed this week. So it feels to me like some of you are just wanting a little bit more time and space to yourself. Nonetheless, people want to hang out with you. So I think that this is one of the days where, again, you want to come out of your shell and see where that leads, okay? Overall, we like the Lovers. Whether you are single and looking, or married, or single and happy, the Lovers is just showing your ability to work well with anybody in any aspect or walk of life. So it's another powerful day for you. Now, as we take a look at next Sunday, 7 days from today, we have manifestation here. And everything that we talk about over the course of the special topic should start to come through into a nice focal point next Sunday. This is a day where if you're trying to share your vision, very effective at persuasive conversation, of any sort of conflict negotiation that didn't work out earlier in the week. Next Sunday, you're in a very sweet spot. And if you're just trying to bring the following week into an even better space, we're seeing that, again, this is a very powerful day for you. Increased intuition, increased creativity, enhanced communication, really good leadership. This is one of the best cards in tarot, bar none. Who doesn't want the High Priestess? So looking really, really good next Sunday. And I don't think there's much that could go wrong with this unless you start to put self-fulfilling limiting thoughts out there like, I can't do this, it won't happen, I always have bad luck with X, Y, or Z. So don't do that. Instead, put affirmative thoughts out there saying, I can, I will, I am, and then put whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish after that, fill in the blank. All right, let's quickly highlight the week and then we'll move on to some additional pieces of the expanded forecast. By the way, I see a lot of comments around suggestions of decks. I'll put a maybe community tab post up. You can always use social media too to suggest something. You can always put it here as well in the comments after it's live because it's harder for me to look at the live chat. So yeah, just leave a comment and I'll see it. And I appreciate that. But occasionally I ask for suggestions, so I'll just do another one of those suggestions of decks. All right, back to the point here, because I see a lot of comments on that and it's distracting me. So I'll put a special community post. All right, back to the reading here. The best days of the week. Today's pretty darn good for planning. The best days for trying to get your message out there. Honestly, next weekend, next Saturday, next Sunday. I think if you're looking for days when you can get rid of something, like get it off your plate, put something out into the world, send an email or a package, etc. Monday's the best day. Thursday is also really good. Whatever you put out there, it's received in a pretty good way. If you need to meet someone halfway or have an important meeting, Tuesday's also really good for that. The trickiest day of the week, bar none, is Wednesday. So try to get all the important work kind of front-loaded or back-loaded in the week, and then the middle of this week, just sort of work on your own and work at dealing with anything that could be problematic because it will come to the light of day. So fix a problem before it becomes worse, I would say for sure. But then we see some really good energy next weekend. Okay, let me rearrange these cards and then let's get ready for the next portion of the reading, which will be blessings and blocks. Okay, so again, if you just joined, we are moving through this forecast here. We're going to take a look next at blessings and blocks. Just like they sound, blessings and blocks are going to give us some things to embrace, possibly some things that we want to avoid. So let's see what wants to come through here. We'll use the Modern Witch deck for this. Okay, so let's take a look. Blessing is change, and block could be for some of you recognition or contractual obligation. We'll get into that in just a second. All right, so we'll start first with the blessing. I mentioned that tower-like energy could be coming through. We got both the tornado, with the tornado, we got both the devil and the tower. I mentioned that either of these could come through, and they did. They both came through. So the blessing is, it's happening, folks. If there's something that needs to fall away or be dealt with, it's going to shake out in one way, shape, or form. And the older I get, the less I fear some of these situations. Like many of you know that I just relocated from one Airbnb to another. The reason was there was a leaky roof, and I just was like, been there, done that. We're not dealing with that again. So within 2 days, I just got into a better space. If you need to make a change, I feel like you can do it really quickly. And if there's something that's going on where it no longer serves or suits you, you can't stay there. And moving from that place to this place allowed me to do lives again, and it's better, and it brought me closer to the part of town that I wanted to be in. So sometimes that immediate change or that really fast adjustment is exactly what you need to get closer to the goal. So the blessing actually is the shaking up that's going to happen. And I've always mentioned that you can be a surfing sort of energy in this. So we saw swimming as a part of today. So you can swim with the energy or surf with the energy of change and then sort of avoid the fallout and the storm. Why stick around for something that you know it's not going to be a good ending, it's not going to be optimal? You know, newsflash, you don't have to. So see the writing on the wall, take action accordingly, and do it promptly. And that's going to be what puts you in a really good trajectory. Let's look at your block. The block for some of you is finishing what you've started. There could also be questions on your research or questions on like the fact checking. So one of the things that you want to do with the Three of Pentacles is make sure that when it comes to fine print, that you have read the contract. When it comes to doing something for someone else, that it's in the way, shape, or form that you would like to receive it. And ultimately, if you're afraid to be seen or to be acknowledged, don't be, because assuming you've done everything right, this card is saying, job well done. In the traditional, I'm going to pull up the traditional one just for a second while we're talking. We see people taking a look at something someone has built. And I would say, I'm going to echo some words that a Reiki teacher once gave me, which was, never do anything half-hearted. Always put 100% in it. Even if you don't like what you're doing or where you're at, it's still a reflection of your energy. So even on your worst day, do your best, basically. And you'll never have regrets at the end of your days on what you were able to put out there. And here we go. Here's the traditional illustration. We can see this person putting the finishing touches on the archway there and people looking at it. And not really sort of like with criticism, it could either be praise or curiosity. So just make sure that when the curiosity comes through for you, that you've actually done your homework. When I was in school, fun fact, I used to kind of know when a pop quiz was coming. That was something I thought everybody could do, but apparently that was an intuitive thing. So I could study a little bit more. I was just like, it's been a while since I have a feeling there's going to be a test. There's going to be a test tomorrow. So I would just kind of look at stuff and get prepared. This is the same thing I would get as a kid. And I would say for those of you that have flown under the radar on something, there could either be a test, an inspection, or a checkpoint. And you want to be ready for the checkpoint and say, oh yeah, here you go. Here's the document. So yeah, I'm done. Thanks for asking. So I didn't give you this first. Or get ahead of it and really surprise someone. And they'll be like, oh, I was meaning to check in. I'm so glad you reached out. Well, thank you. You're one step ahead of me. So your block is not going to really be a block because you tuned in today. It's basically just that we see a checkpoint coming and you need to be ready for the checkpoint. And if you're dragging your feet, don't. That's why you're tuning in today. All right, let's see what's coming through next. So we just did blessings and blocks. We're going to do the elemental forecast in the next portion. Let me see which deck of cards I want to use. I think, let's see, maybe we'll do and then I might let you vote on the main deck today. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to use the Field Tarot for this one. All right, so we're going to take a look. By the way, the elements include fire, earth, air, and water in that order. So let me go ahead now and shuffle the cards and we'll see what's coming through. Thank you to everybody that's giving super stickers and super chat. I will make sure at the very end to say thank you name by name, but I typically wait until the end so that I don't lose my train of thought. All right, so fire, earth, air, and water. Okay, let's take a look and see what's coming through for you. So for fire, we have the Ace of Wands. So this is going to be Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Beautiful energy coming through for you. This is basically saying spark your intuition, spark your inspiration. Whatever it is that you want to do, we have a really good chance of seeing that come to fruition for you. So act upon the idea. And, you had Two of Wands coming through today. So today's the planning day. And then we have that kind of release energy that came through on Monday for everybody. So I'm telling you, the faster you act on this and the more that you go with it, the better that will be. This is vitality. So I see this week, many of you are starting to find your inspiration or mojo. You're waking up maybe with a little bit more energy. If there's one thing that's been sitting in your head, like I should try this, I should do this, listen. That's basically intuition speaking in the way of persistent thoughts, and it's a blessing as well. So you're being guided. You can take things to the next level. Like if I were to title this like I would a monthly reading, I would say this is a next level or a level up week for you. And all you have to do, though, is show up. Just like a game, you're not going to level unless you play. You've got to basically, that was a joystick from like the 80s, but you know what I'm talking about. You have to basically invest some time and energy in it, and you'll start to see a return on that, okay? So what are you doing? It's interesting that I was kind of getting the image of a joystick. To me, the joystick is very hands-on. And it is a wand. We can think of pens and styluses and joysticks and keyboards. They're all kind of like that energy of transmuting. So what are you doing to transmute something from a thought into reality? That's the opportunity this week. And that feels very much like what I've been receiving today overall, like from the Hierophant to the Two of Wands to you, this Ace of Wands. It's saying, what are you going to do? It's also the conductor. When you think of really how wands work, they are the medium through which the magic exits the body. And so you're the magician, you have the wand, you have to do something though with it. Okay, so it's a call to action. And that's my main message here for Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. You're magical, you're capable, but you have to do the work and show up and make the action happen for the magic to happen as well. That's the message for fire. Let's move on to Earth. Earth, we just talked about this. So deja vu here. We've got the Three of Pentacles, and surprise, surprise, the Three of Pentacles is in reverse. So that message was specifically and especially for you. Don't get blocked by not being ready. We talked about that, being unprepared or underprepared. So get all your ducks in a row so that if somebody asks for your research, for your bibliography, for how you got to do something, or if you finish something, you're going to say, yes, I'm finished, or this is how I got it, or don't worry about it, look at this, this, and this, okay? So you're going to shine because we talked about that. This is also, let's talk about the Three of Pentacles in a different level here, since it came through for Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. For those of you that are ready to make something big happen, this is a pitch, a proposal, a blueprint, a sketch. It's communicating something by writing it down. Some of you also have a story or a curriculum or some sort of an idea that you could patent, sell, or distribute. By the way, the day of the week where this is going to be most receptive would be Monday. So get your work done. If you're trying to get a job, get that resume finished and send it out either Monday or Thursday when I was looking at the cards here. But this is the one time I want you to have it word perfect, like that old word processor. Letter perfect, word perfect. Get it as good as you can. Send it to someone else if you need to. Get a second set of eyes, because if we look really closely at that, we have actually 2 extra sets of eyes on this. This can indicate like a high-level editor that can look at something and say, oh, just change this and this and you got it. It's usually very close to completion by the time we get to Three of Pentacles. For those of you that are writers, Eight of Pentacles is more of a structural rewrite, whereas like Three of Pentacles would be a line edit. And for those of you that might be producers or something, this would just be sort of like post-production. It's not the, in the weeds edit. You're just doing a little bit of work to perfect it and you're done. And you may need someone else to just see something that you can't see because you're too close to it. So don't be afraid to work with others. And ultimately, the Three of Pentacles is success, validation, acknowledgement, graduation, completion. Okay, so you're pretty close. Don't give up. Lean on someone else if you need to. It's going to be a good work for my earth signs out there. All right, let's move from earth to air. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. We have air for air here. Just like, actually all the signs have so far been showing up pretty much close to their element, which is cool. So we have the Four of Swords here in reverse. Guess what? This was part of our channeled messages. And guess what? This Four of Swords, it doesn't matter where it's at because of the way that it's designed. The four, they're always pointing towards the center. But look at the caption on this one. It says rest. So I'm sure that many air signs out there can relate. One of the hardest things for air to do is rest because your mind's always going, right? Libra and Gemini especially have a tendency to kind of go out there. So what are you doing right now to take some of those ideas and organize them? And also, what are you doing to just allow yourself to really sit with something for a little bit before you decide, is this for me? Does this make sense? The other thing for you is legitimately taking it at face value. It might have been too long since you've taken a sick day, a vacation, or just stopped something for a day. Whenever I've had to move, sometimes I have to skip a video, like one of the daily ones, and I never regret that because I just need a day to catch up on sleep or something like that. So everybody's human. Take a break if you need to. Do what you need to do to sustain. And remember what I wrote about way back in the beginning. We had the Six of Swords. Actually, it was the 6, not the 4 that showed up. The Six of Swords was more about movement. The Four of Swords is a different type of movement. So basically it's movement through release. And so for many of you, there's a healing period that's happening because you're moving on. So Six of Swords, Four of Swords, Death, and the Fool. Different levels and different styles of moving on. For some of you, you're just getting used to not doing something and then it sits in your energy for a little bit and you're like, this is the new norm. So before you overreact or worry about something, allow yourself to find that new norm and you'll be happy that you did. Okay? It's a peaceful sort of energy this week for you. The problem is you're not having enough time to rest. So because here in the United States, there's going to be a holiday, there's some travel coming up for some of you, just make sure that you're getting enough sleep, enough rest. You're going to be nicer to yourself and other people if you get that sleep and if you get that rest. All right, let's move on from air to water. For water, we have the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is upright. So for many of you, you're actually looking for clarity, okay? So let me just pull the traditional card while we're talking. It's not always going to be spelled out for you. You may have to go your own way. You might have to write your own rule book here because sometimes it's interesting. I had to go to a bunch of doctors over the past couple months and I am feeling better. Thanks for those who are asking. Still some swelling. It's going to take time and hopefully some PT coming up here. But for the Eight of Swords here, I actually went to a doctor once and he said, I don't know what that is. Specialist. I'm like, you don't know? So I went to two other specialists because I'm glad he told me. That was actually super honest. The two other specialists were able to identify it like that. So sometimes you have to find a different person to go to. So I'm not a doctor, but if you're talking to someone and they're supposed to be a subject matter expert and they don't know, first of all, good on them for saying, and now it's your job to do the research or find someone else that does. This is basically a card where there's ambiguity or a fogginess or a lack of clarity. And so the onus is on you to decide how to navigate that. The cool thing with the Eight of Swords is it's not as bad as it seems. We see this person where she's really not trapped. She just can't see the way out. The swords they're kind of like on either side of her. We can't really see behind her, but counting the swords, there's not one behind her either. So if she just took a step forward or a step back, she'd be all right. And that's something that we can kind of figuratively take a step back or move beyond this and you will not feel as stuck. There's someone around you that doesn't know and maybe their ignorance or lack of clarity is also kind of connecting to you. So it's your job to get a bird's eye view, to look at it from a different angle. That's also something that's going to be easier for you to do come Monday because we have the world upside down, so a different perspective. And then that's going to hopefully serve you well. Okay? So looking again at all of the messages here, it looks like it's a pretty good week overall. I think it's easiest for fire signs because of the Ace of Wands, like inspiration is coming through. You can see a lot of progress happening and that's exciting. For earth signs, just do your homework and then finish what you started. And then we see, you being able to launch something, which is exciting. Air signs, take care of yourself, rest. We do see movement, but it's happening a little bit slower for you. There's so much going on that could be kind of exciting in your life, but take care of your health in the process. And then water signs, you're going to have to find the answer yourself. The normal go-to person or guide, they don't have the answer. Part of this might be simply to let you know that you've always had the capability to kind of figure this out. But be that as it may, sometimes it's still disconcerting when, we don't get to call the shots, right? All right, so I'm going to give you a chance to vote on the deck here while I clean up the table here. Let me put the poll together. It's been a while since I've done this. I'll pick decks that I wouldn't mind working with no matter what. So let's see. I have a couple near me. So we'll do Glastonbury. Glastonbury Tarot. Maybe Light Seers, which is a perennial favorite. And let's see, I was using the Modern Witch, which is a derivative of this, and then maybe we'll go to True Heart Intuitive. Okay, so everyone has a chance to vote while I clean up the table here, and we'll get into the next portion. So let me just get everything stacked up. And we're going to go into the special topic today, which again, if you just joined, we're going to be taking a look at how we can all connect to that energy of being a magnet the tractor beam. I kind of like the UFO metaphor. But really how to bring things in and be strong and be magnetic. So while you're doing that, let's see which one is True Heart Intuitive is kind of in the lead. Okay, so give me a second to just get everything cleaned up, and I'll try to get the one that is in the lead nearby. If you just joined, a quick kind of recap of where we're at while everyone's voting on this. We are going to do the special topic, and I'm going to do viewers and readers choice after this because usually I like to sort of like decide how we can make the most of what we've seen so far, and I have better questions after that. While we're doing that, a quick reminder to like and subscribe and throw me a follow on social media if you'd like to. All right, I think we have had enough votes, so let's take a look and see. It's True Heart Intuitive. All right, let me turn the camera down, and I'm going to grab that deck, and we'll get started. This is a wonderful one if you've never used it, by the way. Rachel True did this, might have remembered her from The Craft. It's a really great deck, modern one. I like it. Okay. Let's see how you can be that energetic tractor beam in your own life. Call in the best possible opportunities. Yeah, sorry, I normally show all the decks today. We just don't have the time, so I still don't have like the optimal setup, so it's all good. They're on my website, by the way. You can take a look at nicholasashbaugh.com, and there's a deck place where they're all listed. I'll try to get it more organized for next week. I'm still getting back into being into the live, but you picked a beautiful one for today. I already like what I'm seeing here. So let's just go with it. Welcome to the new members. Thank you to everybody who's been gifting memberships. Now that I have like this better internet connection, I am going to do something in the next week or so where we have like a little gathering. I'll figure out when and where and what. All right, let's go ahead and get these cards set up. Yeah, and if I put a poll out and you haven't seen something, then maybe vote for the unknown sometimes. I don't pick decks that aren't going to be universally good. So just know that they're all good choices. Including and especially this one. I love this deck. Yeah, welcome to everybody. Great to see so many folks here. Last week I forgot to make it public because I'd been doing so many live premieres. So all the videos moving forward, especially while I'm at my current location, are live. And hopefully they will be moving forward because the next place I hope to be is an apartment. So yeah, we're back into our normal groove. Thank you for being patient while I was kind of like dealing with being sick and relocating. It was a challenging couple of months there. All right, let's begin with your catalyst. And again, I just want to read the topic exactly as I posted it so that I can channel the messages around it. So today, everybody had a chance to vote on special. By the way, if you're trying to figure out where can I vote, you go to the community tab. You need to do it on a desktop device or go to your mobile device, click on my channel and click on community. So the exact title for today was Tractor Beam, Become a Magnet for Opportunity. Okay, so like a UFO tractor beam. All right, your catalyst for today is total submersion. Isn't this in beautiful alignment with the dream messages that came through? It says, okay, there's a lot of text on there. Don't be afraid to totally immerse yourself in a project, interest, or goal. I actually talked about that on the one card pull for today. I said that the Hierophant's really good for learning and for kind of like diving in. So connection with the one card for today. Give it 100% of your energy and you may find what your life has been lacking. So here's the thing that I would say with this as we're looking at how to be most magnetic. What do you feel most drawn to? What excites you when you get up in the morning? When you're thinking of, I want to do this today, or what if I explored this? for each of us, that's going to, hit a little differently, but whatever it is for you, that's what I'd like you to start to re-navigate your compass towards. So this may mean that you're going to take a bigger sort of course correction, where you might decide to go back to school, take a class, hang out with some fellow artists or, people on the same track. Here's the cool thing with this one as well. It's about making a splash. So maybe what you're doing is going to be unpopular with your friends, with your family. I saw that in dreams. They're going to say, only this type of person can do that. That's on them. That's their lack of imagination. That's not you. So if somebody says, that, for instance, what you're doing is more a path that would traditionally be what a male or female would do, or you're aged out of a profession. No, not unless, if for some way, shape, or form you're lacking the mental or physical capacity to do it. You and only you know your limits. But what I'm seeing with this is show them. Prove them wrong, make a splash, make it successful by doing what you want. And sort of the submersion is also sort of like just kind of like letting go and submitting to that energy of, I'm going to do it. This is me. What am I trying to fight this for? So if you've always wanted to try something or always wanted to do something, this is confirmation that that's going to be the biggest and best way for you to make a splash. And also you're going to do a lot and do well because you like it. If you're studying or working on something that you don't like, it's a drag. We've all done that at some point in life. I remember when I was in high school and saving up for college, I had a job where I promised myself I was never going to do it again, that particular type of job. I had fun. I liked people. I was in the service industry. I was a waiter. But people were so rude. They were so rude. I did everything. I was a bus person. I was a host. I was a waiter. And then I also worked on the catering side. So I got to see all parts of like hospitality there. And people were so rude sometimes. And it was such hard work. And my body went through it. I was like, if I don't have to do this, I don't want to do it because I'm not having fun. And so I had a lot more fun at a desk job the following summer where I was learning Photoshop because it actually was closer to my path. Someone else may have found like being at a computer really dull and wanted to be out there in the world with other people. To each their own. But I knew what I didn't want to do and I knew what I wanted to do. And I was more productive when I did something that I wanted to do. So if you like it, even if other people don't get it, that's okay. That you're going to do better at it just because it feels more engaging. Okay? I think it's really, really important. Let's look at your center cards here. I was talking about the toll that it takes on your body. It can be mental, right? So later, when I left my corporate job, it was kind of this. It was the mental toll that it was taking on me that then had a physical manifestation. So for some of you, you're in a high stress job. There's high stakes. There's a lot on your back. And that's why I was getting that energy of like floating in the water, just wanting to feel free. So maybe, you have to do what's healthiest for you. The center, before we even get into like what can I do or where are the opportunities, we're really focusing on core things that make so much sense. What makes you happy and what gives you the best connection to your health and well-being? Of course, these would be important because they're the building blocks. If your health is gone, nothing's going to matter. Nothing. The wealth is meaningless. You're going to spend it all on medical bills. If you are mentally disconnected with something, you're just not going to do a good job and you're not going to be able to climb the ladder the way that you want to. So take some time right now to really focus on healthiness, health and well-being. And this could be meditation, this could be diet, this can be exercise, and this is also something that makes you feel supported and strong. And I featured the strength card because some of you want to do something. Again, I don't know why. We're getting something where because we're flipping roles a little bit. It's good actually. So now we might have dads that want to stay at home. Good for them. We may have women that are stepping into more roles of authority. Good for them. We may have people that don't identify with either and they just want to do something, and people want to try to figure out like, well, but you're supposed to do this. We got to break through those stereotypes. So for some reason in this particular week, in this particular month, gender roles are coming up in the read. If you like what you do and the title, it doesn't matter. Like, just stop worrying about people is what I would say. Because what I saw in the dream was that you maintained your integrity and your path, and that person's going to fall away. We have the Tower rapidly after this. So there might be a person that's falling out of your life because they don't support you. As long as you're happy, who cares? That's the message from me, from the cards, from your guides. Okay. Because why? You're tired of walking this tightrope and making everybody happy. Also, this is speaking to work-life balance. Sometimes it's just not worth it. If you are working day and night and you don't have time to spend with your dog, with your friends, and with the people that you love, what good is that? One of the best things that happened when I quit my job is I was able to get this little guy in my life. But a funny story, because I feel like it helps if I talk about experiences I had. When I first quit my job, I'd been living in an apartment complex for nearly 6 or 7 years. Neighbors said, "Oh, are you new? Did you just move in?" Because I was starting to do laundry at different points of the day. They saw me like walking and getting my mail. I'm like, I've been here for like half a decade, and nobody saw me because I would leave at the crack of dawn and I would come home late and I would do my laundry at like midnight or something. So I had no work-life balance. And who cares what the money is or what the job is if your neighbors don't know you and you don't hang out with your friends and all you have is the job. So, this is a time where it's important for you to figure out priorities, right? And that is going to be different for each of you. For some of you too, it's a health thing where you're just realizing like you want to spend more energy on being happy and healthy. So that means that you might pull back a little bit from your investment in work or in school. Nothing wrong with that either. It reminded me also of a scene from, it's not like the best movie, but it's a fun rom-com, but like The Wedding Planner where, who was it? Jennifer Lopez was in that. But yeah, she was trying to buzz her neighbors, but nobody knew her. I actually lived that where like nobody would have really known who I was. So don't become a stranger in your own life, because that's also going to, you're not going to be your most magnetic. You're not going to be able to pull things in. You have gravitas, and that's actually why this card came through at the center. Because a tractor beam is basically able to pull things in. So by saying no, you actually show I have power. I chose not to do that. You have to make a choice with the Two of Pentacles. Yes and no. Say yes to one thing and no to another. That takes power, that takes courage. That's going to set you up to be stronger when you deal with one of those two aces. You have two aces, you have to choose one. Find what your focus is right now. That's where you're going to be the most powerful. Look at what we've got here. Wow. I mean, there's a confirmation for many of you. Burnout, maybe a lack of stability or something that's chaotic that's going on. We talked about that. And we've got two cards of balance, the tiptoeing balance here on the Two of Pentacles and now the more sturdy balance here in Justice. So you don't need my permission. The cards are showing me. Is it time for you to walk away from something? For many of you, yes. And you're going to bounce back. Look at this Nine of Wands. It is the comeback kid card here, but you're definitely going to be able to bounce back. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I wanted to tell that story here. Everything here is beautiful. There's a little bit of challenge that's holding you back from being that magnet or that tractor beam. Okay? Let's start with the deep past. If you are burned out, pay attention to that. Don't wait until it manifests itself in your physical being. Okay? We have Medusa here, if you look really closely, in the garden here, kind of like with all the swords in her back. The interesting thing with Medusa is she has the power to stop things. Like that's actually her superpower. I mentioned before she's like the most misunderstood, one of the most misunderstood gods or goddesses or demigods, or figures in mythology. Gorgons really aren't gods, but if she was an X-Man, she would have she'd be right up there with Storm, because she can basically stop things dead in their tracks. So you have the capacity with a single word, a single action to just stop the pain. But you're probably going to have to move away from something or tell someone to move in another direction. But you have to pull on the brakes, and that's basically what this Ten of Swords is saying, because Medusa could do that. With a single glance, she would just look and say, no. So I really think the power of no is the Medusa energy this week for you. Say no, things stop. And then you're like, wow, I didn't know it was that easy. You don't have to burn yourself out. People will let you do this until you stop, okay? But yeah, she's a very powerful figure. The reason she had that capability is because there was another god, I think it was Poseidon. It's been a while since I did research on that, but they took advantage of her, and I think it was Athena that gave her this power. But basically that was so she didn't have to worry about other people taking advantage of her. So it was actually a superpower, but the way it's kind of been portrayed in mythology, it's not as much of that. But she's a powerful divine feminine figure. So we get a lot of that. You can be strong, you can be assertive, you can be nurturing, and you can have that divine feminine power this month. And it doesn't matter if you identify as male or female. There's something that you want to birth or create, and you might have to be the one that does it. And you're also going to have to be assertive in this process. So that's why I chose the half and half card. We're balancing out both energies. All right. Environment needs to change. This could be home. This could be work. This could also be habits in your life. This is basically the root of it, but this is sort of what happened because of it. And so there's instability. So the no will help create more stability. The choice is going to help create more stability. The Tower reverse is you deciding to wantingly, knowingly, and with premeditation dismantle something. We actually see the hands grabbing onto this Tower card. So, or the Tower, I should say. The person's tearing it apart, and they see it and they know it. When you reverse the card, it's saying, it doesn't serve me. I'm going to take that. I'm going to release that and move on from that. So you're dismantling something. That's all Tower reversed energy is. And so you've definitely got a confirmation that it's okay to walk away, to dismantle, to reorganize, to somehow clean things up. All right? And these are the main opportunities. Let me just drink a little more water as we're getting everything set up here. Let me see if there's anything else here. Oh, cleaning your environment. So if it's your home, this is a deep clean. If it's a work or relationship sort of energy, there's only so much you can do here, but you can at least put your best foot forward and see if the other person is receptive. Okay, let's move to the top. We have Justice, doing what's right. I mean, we can take her at face value, and that really is what it is saying, is what works for you, what's right for you, and also what is just legitimately right. There always is a right versus wrong. You know, if it's about like how to treat people, you know what's right versus what's wrong. So walk the path, the higher path here in this particular period of time. Maybe you need to engage with a lawyer or take legal action, and that's part of this that's going to allow you to be free, allow you to move to the next piece of this. I will get to the special topic, but there was mop-up work that needed to be done. So I got some stuff that's been going on with you with health, with relationships, with work, and with habits in your life. And before you can be an attractive force, you've got to clean those parts of your life up first. Some of you, it may just be one. Some of you, it's going to trickle into, different places. For all of you, the power of simply saying no and pushing back on unrealistic expectations is going to be vital. And, every single power card, I'm not exaggerating, every single power card is divine feminine. This doesn't really have a gender, but strength is divine feminine, justice is divine feminine, and the world card is divine feminine. So there was a reason that energy came through. And again, divine feminine is just about loving, nurturing, fostering, and also delivering. So there might be something that you're holding on to, and the big message this month is the birthing, rebirthing, or creation process has to happen right now. So let's look at now all of the near future and outcome cards and see how you can actually become the magnet. Okay? Okay. So part of this is just going to be the choice. I choose this. This is what I want. Taking the ultimate stand, because Justice, she's one of the strongest figures I could pull in the major arcana. She's like, I've weighed my decision. I want to do this. And there's not many people that are going to take a question with that. They're going to say, okay, moving forward. Some of you are really wanting to prioritize relationships. You want to spend more time with people that you love. You may want to create a network. So, and networking, by the way, is one of the ways that you can be magnetic and also find that next opportunity. Four of Wands can be For those of you in a traditional sort of business sphere, this can be a networking site, going to networking events, and then also deciding, I'm going to be the glue that invites people or creates a group, a social activity, a special interest group. Basically, you're going to find like-minded individuals. In that like-minded group, you might actually find love and friendship as well. The reversal of this card is saying you're filling a gap where you can see that, people need this. So that's basically how innovation works anyway, but there may be something, it could be a product or service where they're missing a certain part of society or a certain specialization, and you're like, I can do this, and this is going to catch on, right? We're seeing some shakeups in social media right now, and you see a lot of new ones coming to the forefront. That's just a natural way things work. So if you see something falling apart and you're like, I need to build something better, now's the time to do it. And that's a nice kind of connection here. This is not the end. This is not the sky falling. This is just something that doesn't serve you, kind of moving out of your life. You're now moving towards greater balance and power, and greater expansion, okay? I think that's really, really important here. You might actually decide, some of you might be deciding to forge an alliance, because justice can be a contract. The Four of Wands can be that partnership. We have, let's see here, also the World card, which would then be an announcement that follows that. So some of you are deciding to launch a business or partner up with someone in a business, or you're going to sign on the dotted line for something that looks good for you. Remember not to do that midweek. I remember it was Wednesday, but good days. Actually, with the Two of Cups energy, the Four of Wands is a nice complement to that too. So Tuesday could be good for that. And then I do see something big happening this week. We keep getting the World coming through. So big changes, big expansion. For some of you, a big move as well. But people, community, connections, that's a big part of the power and the magnet, or the magnetic energy that wants to come through. People are a part of this. We don't notice that we don't have like hermit energy here. This is about connecting and networking. All right. First, let's see how you're showing up. We see you regrouping and reconnecting with that core energy that you've always had. So that's the downtrodden, the pushed, and the sort of like heavily sort of like abused energy. Sometimes Nine of Wands, it can be working too hard. There can be, for those of you that are working in like an abusive workplace where too many hours, too many expectations, not enough rewards. Once you get out of that, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to be able to breathe again. I'm rediscovering my energy. I'm springing back. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that there are parts of Scandinavia that are actually elevating because of the glacial thawing. But I can't remember if it's like Finland or one of the Scandinavian countries, but there's a big amount of land that's reclaimed each year. I think even Iceland would probably be starting to see that too, because the glaciers are going, and then the ground basically starts to bounce back because glaciers are very heavy. So it takes like millions of years for this to happen. But just like continents can come back after the glacial energy recedes, we too can come back after we've been depressed or repressed or pushed down. So this is a period for you of rebounding energy, right? So give yourself a little bit of time, particularly the air signs out there where I had the Four of Swords. Just a little bit of rest is going to help you get that spring back in your step. But everybody, I am getting that sort of energy of, wow, I haven't lost it. This wasn't the end. I just needed to kind of step away from this. How do you make it work? Well, you don't have to do this alone. We have the Six of Pentacles, which is the bare minimum that I would look for an entrepreneurial adventure or new venture. It's saying that it's a safe bet, but you probably would do better with the help of someone else, and you can reach out and ask for a little bit more. You can't do everything that you want at once. This is a phased launch. Six of Pentacles is saying, basically, I'm going to take a little bit of this, we're going to do a little bit of that in the future, and this thing may just not work at all. So you're going to basically figure out what makes sense for you. You can have pretty much everything that you want, but not all at once, not unless you bring on more people or more resources. So realistic expectations are going to be important. That's going to help you not only seem like a safer bet for people, but also like you have skills and maturity to bring this next thing through. Know your limits. Basically, that was one of the titles that I had when I was doing the channeled messages. Know them and keep them and communicate them. Okay? We have a card of travel. We have 2 cards of travel and expansion. This is one of my favorite Eight of Cups. We're going to get into that in a minute. The energy of Jupiter, which is big expansion, but then also the world here. So there may be like 2 events that are coming through that are going to allow for this expansive energy to continue. But let's start with this. Hopes, fears, and opportunity. We have the Eight of Cups. So in business, the Eight of Cups is a sporadic, but very good and very sustainable growth. What would happen with Eight of Cups versus Eight of Wands? Eight of Cups, it's basically someone that is going to come back, but you can't pinpoint when. So unlike a car that has maintenance every so many miles, or like, if you get your teeth cleaned twice a year and things like that, there are certain products, services, and industries where you just come when you want to. So one of the things that I would give you advice for right now is to create more of a pressing need for something. So if you are creating a product or service, marketing can help with this, but also make sure that there is a reason for people to come back. Make it enticing. So in everyday, like let's imagine that it's a restaurant where there is really no pressing need. Eight of Cups is very much restaurant business. So what you have to do is sometimes launch a limited time only. Have you ever wondered why they do that? It's not because the ingredients are only available one part of the year. It's because if they just put it out for a month or 2, they can generate interest and sales. And then it's gone for a year. There's certain restaurants that will do that. And even like when we see Starbucks, because that's ubiquitous, everyone knows where they've been to a Starbucks at some point, the pumpkin spice latte or something like that, it's only going to be around for 2 or 3 months. And then it doesn't come back. And it's special because of that. Fast food restaurants have certain items that do that. So you could do something that is a limited time only or a limited window. And especially for my entrepreneurs out there, think of creating a special need, and that's going to help you out. The other thing with the Eight of Cups is you could decide why people are kind of sporadic in connecting with you. Is it because it's out of sight, out of mind? In which case, advertising and marketing are going to help you with that magnetic energy as well. The good news is people are interested. Okay. Now let's look at it with, because Rachel True's deck has some additional messages in it. Let's look at this. You might be ready to take a step in a new direction, but you want to keep like one foot in the door. The Eight of Cups is a card that shows a cracked door in the past. So a lot of times we're not quite ready to commit to tomorrow. And so we're like, I need a sabbatical, I need a vacation, or I need to do some research before I say no, or before I kind of say goodbye. You can also leave with grace and dignity so that in case something doesn't work, you're hedging your bets and you could come back. So that's what I see as an open door in the past. The last thing here is that by taking a break or just kind of like allowing yourself to explore, which is also what the Eight of Cups is, you could find something you never imagined. This is like the equivalent of taking a dream quest, deciding to just go out in the woods and find yourself and explore something and get this idea. So we see someone going on a journey. Traveling or intellectually going someplace that you hadn't imagined could lead you to that expansive energy of Jupiter. And so that's what we really see here is that you're taking steps towards something bigger, but I see resistance and a reluctance to let go of the past. So the sooner you let go of that, the quicker you get to Jupiter, the quicker you get to that expansive energy. And based on what I'm seeing in the past, I don't know how much you really need to hang on to the past. Maybe you just want to leave a clean slate, and that's cool. But it feels like what lies ahead is better than what was behind you. And that's also just a general note of encouragement. If you've had a rough year, and many of us have, it looks like the week ahead and the month ahead and the year ahead are looking a lot better than what's over your shoulders. And that's welcome news for all of us, I think, right? Finally, we're looking at a card that's saying, in order for this change to happen, you might have to physically move or relocate. You might also have to look at this from a different perspective. The world reversed, again reversed, is coming through to say, I always thought that it had to show up this way. Maybe it's a person coming into your life. Maybe it's a way of doing it. But if I just look at it from another perspective, Mr. or Mrs. Right is right there, or the solution is right there, or there's a different audience that wants what you have to offer. So consider it inside out, upside down, from a different perspective. One of the cool things when we look at the Hanged Man card is he's able to see things from a new perspective because he's purposely pausing and looking at the world upside down. This World card is saying you don't have to even waste that much time. It's just a simple reconsideration of something and you're like, oh, that's how I do it. Okay? So as we look at all of these cards, we're going to expand it here in a second, but I just want to do a little mini review of what's going on here. Self-care and releasing an old habit. That's if you're an UFO, or if you're this tractor beam, or if you're this big magnet, something's holding you down. And it is health and environment and trying to do too much for too many people. It might also be trying to prove that you're allowed to do something because someone believes that only a certain type of person can do it or whatever. All this stuff doesn't serve you anymore. You're being asked to stand up for yourself right now. You will attract your own tribe of people is what we see here. Your own special family or chosen spiritual connection here. Spiritual family. Whatever you do, and you're going to do it well, by the way, I see a rebounding energy coming through. More than enough resources. You have to make some smart choices, but more than enough to make this happen. And just for many of you, it's a willingness to go into boldly into this unexplored land and allow yourself to basically create that which you've been dreaming about. Okay? So it looks very possible to me, and it looks like for many of you, it's on your own. Okay? Like maybe you can partner with someone, but like not part of a bigger or organization or company. You might be deciding to break free because of burnout and things of that nature. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and expand the forecast. We're going to take a look next at health, wealth, love, and destiny in the vein of how to be a magnet. How can I do something that's going to make who I am, what I do, what I'm trying to accomplish more attractive to others in my life? Let's begin first with your health message. A reminder that I'm a tarot reader, not a doctor. So if there's anything going on with mental or physical health, obviously work with a professional. But I'm going to help us navigate through the energy opportunities. You're very sensitive in this portion of time here. We have an empathy card. Let's pull it up to the main camera. It says, I'm open to seeing both sides of a situation. What a nice synchronicity this is with the World card. So seeing it upside down, inside out, or from two different perspectives, it's a common theme that we're seeing here. You have the ability to do it. You may be frustrated because others can't or won't. And the older you get and the more life experience you have, the more you realize sometimes people just aren't open. And in time, they might get it. And in time, they may not. And that's not your job to do. One thing that I want to empower you with today is the understanding that you don't have to fix everyone. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't owe anyone an explanation if it's what you need or want to do. And by reclaiming that power and that certainty, you clear the path in front of you, which is exciting, which is what this is all about at the end of the day. Okay? Let's now just look at this from the perspective of what's healthy for you. Well, does it feel right? This is going to sound, again, it may sound simplistic, but it's also really powerful. Do you like it? Does it gel with you? If empathically you connect with it, we're right back to the catalyst here. This total submersion. It says, don't be afraid to totally immerse yourself in a project, interest, or goal. Give it 100%, and you may find what you've been lacking in your life. But if you do what you love, you won't even it won't be a matter of may, can, or might. It will happen. So follow what feels right. You'll make a splash. We see the expansion. We see the acceptance. We see the choice. I think the biggest thing right now is choosing. I'm at a certain point in my life where there are no parental figures left. There aren't really any. There are no grandparents. There are no parents. And it's a freeing point there's a little bit of weight on my shoulders too, because I just have to do what's right. And I don't check it with I check it with my higher self. And that's it. There comes a point in all of our lives where that's going to have to be enough. At the end of our days, that's going to have to be enough, because you may be blessed to have parents with you your whole lifetime. But when you're back in your soul and that soul review, it's still you with your guides looking at your life and judging your life. So start to think that way right now and just think, does it feel right? Is this right for me? Not will it make my mom, dad, uncle, aunt, sister, brother, or partner happy, but is it right on a soul level? And that's why empathy is coming through, okay? And by the way, if you are like me, kind of like Solo, you're very strong. You find a strength you didn't know you had. I was talking to a good friend of mine the other day, and I was like, that's the best blessing. Whether you're divorced, many of you that are divorced, you know this too, or widowed or a widower, or you're like me and you don't have a big family, there is a certain strength as you push through challenges in your life. You're like, well, God, if I got through that, I can get through anything. And this situation isn't half as bad as something in the past was. So you get this new strength in this new context. Use it, folks. And know that even if you have a lot of agitation around you, you can always rise up. All that you need to kind of find that strength is the Medusa energy of no. People will stop their behaviors with that simple statement. All right. Some of you may be dealing with chronic pain or fatigue. The Ten of Swords indicates that, and you need to take care of that first. You may be recovering like I am. This can be a broken bone or a health incident in the past, and this is recovery. Nine of Wands is recovery. With the Nine of Wands, by the way, I'll pull the traditional card while we're talking. For some of you, you could also be feeling it in the back still because we can see that. But it also hits in the, it can be like migraines, headaches, or vertigo. So for those of you that might have had a fall or head trauma, or maybe you had brain trauma like a stroke, you might be dealing with some of that as well. Obviously, if any of this is going on, please deal and work with your doctor for that. But suffice it to say, a lot of times this is just about stress management. So headaches come through when we're just working too many hours, not getting enough sleep, drinking too much caffeine, not drinking enough water, not taking care of ourselves. So the main thing that you want to do in this period of time is just take proper care of yourself. And so we'll see this person here on this Nine of Wands with the bandage around their head. And so that's why a lot of times this can also affect the head space too. So we see back pain, head pain. So obviously with either of these, if it's recurring, work with your doctor, but some of this could just be the stress in your life. And take a look at your bed too. Bed and pillows, is it properly, sort of aligned for your spine and all of that? I talked about cleaning up your life, cleaning up your environment, cleaning up your habits. There's a lot of different levels of cleaning, but they want to come through. And pretty much that's it. With the vertigo and with the balance stuff, if you're having any inner ear problems, go to an ear, nose, throat specialist. Of course, we have another balance card here. Lots of balance cards came through and a lot of healing cards came through. So some of you just need to have better work-life balance. Some of you might be going through some health stuff like I was. Take care of yourself. I have some good news with that. We do see recovery here, a different norm, but recovery. And we see here a path towards something better. So I like what I see here. But you actually have three balance cards, folks. The Two of Pentacles, which is balance, Justice, which is the scales of balance, and the Six of Pentacles, which holds another scale. So the biggest thing you can focus on is watching yourself while you're walking, looking at how much time and energy you're putting into things, making smarter choices. It's energy balance, it's legitimate balance of your body, and it's work-life balance, okay? That's the number one thing in health, because I can't remember the last time I got all the balance cards, but I got them all. So it's time to find a balance for you. When you find that your feet are on even ground, that you are a little bit more confident in what you're doing, everything is going to be easier. Things are going to take hold and take flight a lot faster and a lot better. Okay, that's all we needed to focus on. I needed to see the combination of those balance cards, and it really comes through clearly for me. If you don't like a place that you're living or a place that you're working, that movement is going to be so important to you. It's vital, actually. Okay, sensitivity. Some of you are starting to open up your empathy. Empathy is a really interesting gift. Psychically, this can hit in different ways. Back when my parents were alive, sometimes if they were agitated, it would feel like fire ants were going across my scalp. If they were talking to me or if they thought about me while they were agitated, I would call them and I'd be like, something's wrong. Please don't think about me until you've got yourself in a better space, because I can feel that. That was before I learned to shield. I could also sometimes feel if someone was stressed out and they were texting me, I would feel like little knives going into my fingers, the ones that they were using to text with, because you could tell they were just angry. in which case I would say take a deep breath. I can also feel if someone has power struggles, because it would feel like a knife would hit me in the solar plexus. Empathy is a weird thing. Anybody that goes, like if you're a reader, you have to, it's a shadow pain, but you feel it a little bit and then you're like, that's not me and I don't want that. So you kind of push it away, but put your shields up, and identifying the source will come with practice. Usually it's someone who's close to you or who's about to talk to you or about to call you, and you'll be able to figure out how to better manage and ground that energy. It's a beautiful gift that not everyone has, and you'll be able to not feel such an intense amount there, but that's one thing that you might pick up on if you start to get better with your gifts. Okay. Looking at what's going on with your wealth card, the spiral dancer. This is interesting because we can spiral up or we can spiral down. Kundalini is a coil. It can be an expansive one, but we can also think of like a spiraling down the rabbit hole here. So so that's basically, before I even read the card anymore, you can go either direction. We have the binary partners or pairs here. We have the Tower, which is spiraling down, and then we have the World, which is spiraling out. So let's choose World energy if we can. Circuitous route, that is a $50 word. Circular route. And then perception. So are you stuck in a cycle that doesn't serve you? That's basically what that first word is saying. And we want to kind of go towards the outward spiral, the golden mean, the galaxy, kind of like the arms of the galaxy reaching out. So reach out, reach up, don't constrict in this period of time. And if you're in an environment where they are restrictive, constrictive, very sort of authoritative, very limiting, that's where you might have to break free. And this also works for schools, or I need a drink, my voice is going, or environments where people don't want you to be there. They're trying to take your voice like they're doing with me right now. There we go. Much better. So you have to find a place where you feel like you can be you. Let's look specifically at all of the energies around. Well, you know what? You actually have a very interesting one. You just have one money card or one resource card, and it's the Six of Pentacles. And the question from the universe is, how much is enough? And are you working for a place where it's never going to be enough? So let me show you the traditional one. I like this one, but I want to show you the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith because it has a strength in it. There's always going to be a hand reaching out, asking for just a little bit more. And there may be someone in your life that's judging things harshly. I had a friend growing up where, if they got like an A- on a test, their parents would give them a hard time. I'm like, you just got an A. A+, A-, it's still an A. And that's a case of someone with the Six of Pentacles always wanting you to do more. And it's sort of like, maybe that was the best that person could do. And you have to sort of like give them credit. The card is hiding from me. Let me try one more time. But in the card, you'll see people reaching out and there's basically an understanding that you can't be everything to everyone. I'll leave the camera down while we're looking at this. Here we can see like the ideal energy here. And we see people there trying to meet up to that. So it can also be unrealistic expectations that are set upon us by parents, by society. Here it is. Here's a traditional one. And ultimately what we have to do is just say, that's you, not me. You're projecting your path, not mine. So here we go. We see beggars on either side of the person. We see a limited amount of coins. And we see the scales here, sort of an understanding that I'm going to give my time and energy to something where there's going to be a return. We all have kind of like, they're like black holes, right? People, projects, things that we put energy into. And it's like, I'm not getting anything out of this. Why am I doing this? So the most important thing you can do is identify the black holes in your life and say, that's not it. That's a spiral into that energy. That's another way of looking at a black hole, because you spiral in until you're soaked into it. So you want to be moving outward, the opposite of that, like the birth of a star or birth of a universe, not compressing, okay? And if someone asks for too much, it's time to step away. No is the most powerful thing that's coming through for health and wealth right now, I would say, is being able to put that limit out there and really stand firm with that, okay? The good news for you, though, you have enough. You just have to balance it out and have to dole it out in a better way that makes sense. If we start to add up the math here, 6, 7, 8, you actually have a hidden 8 of Pentacles. I lied. There's a 2 of Pentacles at the center. I wasn't looking at it. I always read the 2 of Pentacles as like a work-life balance, not so much resource. This is more resources. But if we add the 2 together, it's the 8 of Pentacles, which is really good, actually. That tells me that you're on a path of progress. And we have 8 of Pentacles, 8 of Cups. Pretty soon you're going to have the 8 of Wands with that. So you have more than you know. There's just things that are tugging at it. And so I actually see like a hidden 8 if we start to add all the resource cards together. Look beyond your boundaries, your borders, like whether it's province, country, city, state, whatever. Look beyond where you're at. You might have too fixed of a focal point. And if you broaden that a little bit, people are going to be more interested in you because you might have a special skill set. So for some of you, you might get a visa because of that, because what you do is unique. So all you have to do is find the right company in the right place and they'll pay for you to go there. So think of that too if you're willing to move. Some of you are interested in social justice or law because we can take justice at face value for that as well. And this can also be mentorship, teaching, things of that nature. So I like what I see here overall. I think the most important thing, though, for you is to reclaim power and energy so you can rebound. That's the main thing that is difficult for many of you right now, is you're still feeling like the lower part of this rather than the higher part because you're going through this and you're going through this. But this is the promise of tomorrow. Balance, strength, more strength anyway, because strength is at the center. She keeps getting hidden by this card. Strength, and then expansion. All right. Let me see if there's anything else that we need to focus on. Simply fight for what's right. By the way, if it's contract negotiation time, if you're buying or selling a house, there's not the first offer. There's something that needs to be dealt with a little bit here. You need more so that you can sustain. It may be 10 or 20% more, 10 or 20,000, just a little bit more. And then you have what you need, okay? And you could get a little bit more of a deal. If someone is, if there's an asking price, there might be more wiggle room. Either way that you're looking at it, I see more money in your pocket or more time or energy in your resources than you had when you started. So that's what we want to look for as a surplus. Okay, let's move on to relationships. Love. It's not win or lose, folks. Literally, when we pull a card upside down, it's the reverse of that meaning or a different view of it. So we're going to look at love as not, win or lose or, give or take. It's a little bit of both. Like sometimes you're giving a little bit more than you're taking. Sometimes you're taking a little bit more than you're giving. Sometimes your partner's on the rise. Sometimes you're on the rise. Whatever's going on right now, it doesn't make you less than. And that's the main thing here, is that let's stop looking at binary, good or bad, right or wrong, win or lose. And we actually see the blending already starting to take place here at the center with the strength card. They're not at odds. Typically, the strength card is at odds with the energy. We see divine feminine having to fight with divine masculine. She's not doing that here. She's saying, take it or leave it. I'm not the one that's putting that sort of win or lose sort of energy there. Let's look really quickly at the traditional strength card, and then I'm going to read this in 3 different perspectives. We'll look at it for those of you in love, looking for love, or single and happy. But I'm going to start first with the traditional strength card because you'll see what I'm saying with this. This is the thing that we want to avoid, and I'll reference it a few times as we're looking at this. Traditional strength. You can have your way, but it requires a great deal of energy and effort. That person has to sometimes get the person, isn't that right? So it's a puppeteer sort of energy. I'm going to do this, right? And isn't that right? We mentioned this. And you're getting them to say, yeah, that's right. Or yeah, I'll do it. Or you said you were going to come. You're going to come, right? Are you going to, did you finish this? Or are you going to finish this? It's way too pushy sometimes. Much easier is this strength card. You assume that someone's going to do something. And then if they don't do it, you let them fail sometimes. And you'll say, I wanted to see what you were willing to bring. I know we had a discussion about it. Now let's just talk about why it didn't happen. Instead of harping over their shoulder and helicoptering in, you're just going to assume you can, if you're going to do it, you could just say, assume we're on course for that, right? And then you walk away. And if they're not, you let them fail. You come back and say, what part of the initial conversation wasn't clear? Or what did I not pick up on with you? Is there something going on in your life? Are you in pain? Is there something personally going on? Get to the bottom of it. That's the stronger strength card than the puppeteer, because it doesn't, sooner or later, you're going to have that lion bite you, and we don't want that. Even though she's succeeding here, it's either going to result in an exhaustion. You may always be able to win with that lion, but it may exhaust you. Or one of those times they're going to snap the jaw, and we don't want that to happen. It's better to lead by example and to assume the best, because then people are going to do the best. And I've talked before, especially for children in your life, you want to let them know, say, I think the world of you, and I think you can do this. Let me know how I can help you. That's better than, honey, I don't know. Are you sure you can do this? We're going to spend a lot of money on this. Did you finish that? Why did you only get an A-? That is not motivating. That chips away at confidence and creates animosity. So we want to build up and assume the best and give a loving and supporting energy around the person. And that's going to help with all relationships. And that's why strength is at the center of this. Okay? Because I've been on both ends of the strength card, the one where the person forces you, or the one or when they judge you, and then when they encourage you subtly. Okay. We'll start off with those of you in a loving relationship. I always like to look at relationships, existing relationships, on two levels. Let's assume everything's hunky-dory and we look at these as environmental things. Then I'll look at those of you that might be in a crisis of sorts, because we can see that. So if you're in a really good relationship, either you or your partner is showing up very strong. And I feel like you're going to be able to get through this. The good news is we have balance, balance, and balance. You're going to take turns at the wheel, each one of you being the one that's in control or in balance. All divine feminine energy here. So just be there for each other and ask how to show up for each other. I think that's the key thing. You can't do everything. You can't help them through everything, and you can't take away all their pain. I think a good therapist would admit that too. I'm not a therapist, but knowing that you are not capable of fixing someone, I think that's important here. So if someone's in great pain or there's a lot of disarray, help them find the help that they need. That would be the best piece of advice I could give you. It looks like one or both of you could be going through some chaotic or disruptive energy right now. I see better days ahead with the World card and the Eight of Cups, a better cycle in front of you. But the challenge will be open communication, fairness, and balance. That's all you have to do. Remind one another that you're there, that you're one another's advocates, but you're not the nurse, the doctor, or the mother for that other partner. And as long as you remember that, you'll avoid this sort of pitfall. That's the most important thing. Now, for those of you that are in relationships where there's a crisis, it feels like there could be some bad health habits for some of you. There might be an addictive or an abusive sort of energy with how that person treats themselves. So getting them the help they need, again, is important there. There could also just be sickness. This can come through as cold, flu, COVID, chronic pain or fatigue. This is disruptive, could be disrupting sleep and other things. There could be a lot of fighting. This can be harsh words said that then eat away at the core of the relationship. Can things work out? Yes. But are they? Right now, unless communication improves, justice in the world typically indicate an end of things. So if you don't need my permission to move in a different direction, and I'm not going to give that. I don't show that. But if you choose a path to move in your own way, move on your own, it'll be all right, is what I see. If you want to work it out, it's okay, but it requires work. When we look what's here, it's compromise, 60-40. It's not going to be everything that you want, everything that you need. And is that enough? Is what, depending on what end of the receiving end you're on, is 40% maybe of what you want enough, or is 60% enough? So there's some compromise. And if not, it's time to move on. Okay? So for those in a good relationship, it's about finding balance and having open communication. For those where harsh words or actions have already happened in the past, I think it's about just declaring what you need and moving on. Okay? So 2 different paths, 2 different points of view, because I'm doing a general reading, but I definitely see both storylines here. It might be also time to just move out of a place that doesn't work. So this could be a community that's not supporting of you. There's a lot of different pockets of the world that don't support people that are different. And there could be so many different categories of different. I'm not going to go through all of those here. But if people don't support you for being you, it might be better to move somewhere else and find that support. where you have better rights or better protections. Okay. Now looking at those of you looking for love, you got to take care of yourself first. If you don't love yourself and if you're not healthy, you're not going to be able to sustain and maintain the new relationships that want to come through, by the way. Some of you, I'm reading for Leos because Leo came through, but there could be a really strong energy like that wants to come into your life. I see partnership and marriage on the horizon for some of you, but not until this comes together. Better health, better environment, better work-life balance. Because if you meet someone right now, I don't know where they're going to fit in the schedule. And if you're not in a sort of healthy place, it's going to be hard to balance this energy in as well. Because you don't want someone to have to step in and take care of you. We want that to be more of a partnership. And this person that is coming into your life, by the way, let's assume that you do the work on healing yourself first. There could be a strong Libra. I think this person that's coming into your life is from a different place, different background, different country, different energy than you've dealt with before. And it's a change for the better because we have Jupiter and the world. Couldn't ask for more expansive energies. How could you meet someone new? Well, probably through existing networks, because we talked about that. And the most important thing in your life is to create better balance. How to be more attractive right now is to be healthier and to do what's right for you. Find that balance within. Don't look for the balance in a new relationship or in an existing relationship. You are your own balance. They're not your balance. That is everything, I believe, for those that are looking for a relationship. If you're single and happy, it's a great time for travel. It's a great time for financial stability to step in. I still see good networking skills happening. I think the biggest opportunity for everybody right now is to really get a stronger balance in your life and stronger health, I would say, generally speaking. Health, health, and health is basically what we're seeing here. Reclamation of that. Once you are on stronger ground and stronger feet, you're going to be in a much better place. All right. Now let's focus on your outcome here, your destiny card. Focus your mind. Thank you, angels, for helping me focus on my priorities. And I think this card nicely connects with all of the stuff that I just talked about. If you are trying to manifest, if you are in an interview, if you are on a first date, if you're starting a new job, people are going to ask you, what is this about? What do you stand for? Why should I invest in you or your company or whatever? Why should we go on a second date? They want to know like where you stand and what you have to offer. So the sooner you can clarify that and project that out there, the better it's going to be, and the more magnetic and effective you're going to be at calling that into your life. Okay? So everything that we've been talking about today kind of brings us to this point, which is your focus and clarity ultimately is the magnet. Again, it may sound, well, there are two things. I would say having the balance and stability, step one, having the focus, step two, and then believing that focus, step three. You have to have a firm foundation, you have to have a clear vision, and you have to believe what you're saying. That will help make you a tractor beam. So that's the big sort of like, so what? I'm still going to pull a big idea, and then we're going to look at the viewers and readers' choice after this. Okay, so big idea. I kind of summarized what I think the big idea is, but let's see if there's anything else that I've missed. One all-encompassing umbrella for how you can make this happen. Well, hello, magician. All right. So remember when I was talking about, what was it, the fire signs where you had the Ace of Wands? I was talking about the magician. Sometimes it's so interesting that like I haven't watched Harry Potter in a bazillion years, but I think wasn't there like a selection of wands too, or the wand had to choose you or whatever? Listen, a wand is cool, but it's kind of like tarot cards. There are different tools that we can use, but it's this. Yes, the tool does matter a lot. There are different decks that I can read with easier, but the magic isn't solely in the cards. The magic is my connection to that tool and my connection to the source and how this awakens my connection. So yes, there's magic here because there was a really great illustration. And that illustration sparked intuition. That intuition unlocks something that's up in the ethers. But it's not the tool. It's not the company, and it's not this, and when I say company, it can be people or the place around you. It's you. It's always been you. You are the source. This is source energy, basically. Even though High Priestess is powerful, the magician is connected to source. So we don't want to underestimate or undervalue the power of the magician. There's a reason it comes first. You have to know how to plug in. So don't lose your connection to your source, and never forget that just because you unplug from a relationship, a job title, or some sort of a community thing that you were involved with, that doesn't devalue you, your skills, or your power. You just have to reframe it now. I guess that's the big idea, is that you always have and had the power. It's just a matter of realizing it and then doing something with it. And that's your big idea. We kind of like went way out on the big idea, but it's kind of fun to do that. Okay, we're going to now do readers and viewers' choice. I kind of like to do it at the end because it can help us take a look at what we haven't dealt with yet. So I want to look at the table as we're talking together here. So for the, we'll start with the viewer's choice, so you have a chance to vote while I'm ruminating on the reader's choice. All right, so let me put a poll up right now. Let's take a look. Start a poll, viewer's choice. Okay. We need to look at some of this stuff, folks. Opportunities for healing, because that's this. Rebuilding and reclaiming. Let's see what else. How and when to say no. That actually might make a good topic, special topic one weekend, right? How and when to say no. All right, so you guys can look at those. While you're voting on those, let me see here. I want to look at opportunities for expansion. So you can look at healing and some of these other things. I want to see, like, because we want to, the whole idea is to get you into the magnet. So I'm going to ask the bigger question, which is, how can we really connect you to the magnet energy right now? Okay? All right, so we have the Prince of Cups coming through here. And again, if you just happen to join right now, we're taking a look here at the viewers and readers' choice. And what I'm focusing on is how to be the magnet. And I think we're kind of back at the start here, because the magnet is all about how you feel. And this is very much connected to the Catalyst card. I'm going to pull them here side by side. So when you love what you're doing, it's so easy for you just to sort of like submerge yourself, or just sort of like relax and enjoy and sort of like dive right in. If you're not happy, if you're not connected, then you're not effective. And this is basically saying, in this moment in time, the most magnetic thing you could do is to love. Love who you are, love what you're doing, love whatever it is that you're putting back into the world. It all goes back to love. And if you don't love it, don't do it. If you don't like it, don't do it. If you don't like your boss, if you don't like your company, if you don't like the product that you're doing, if you don't like the group that you're hanging out with, or how they treat other people, if there's something at the core that you don't like, stop it. Use the energy of Medusa to go back into that full stop and say, all right, I'm going to restructure, I'm going to rebuild, I'm going to reimagine, I'm going to attract a better group or a better opportunity, and it's going to be bigger and better than it was before. This may have seemed like everything, but remembering what we talked about, you are the source. And once you plug into your heart, that source energy starts to come through even faster and more impressively than before. Okay, let's see what you chose for me. Rebuilding and reclaiming, it looks like. Okay, so let's give the cards a shuffle. Rebuilding and reclaiming. So we're really kind of taking a look at Tower energy and how to kind of come back from all of this stuff that we've been through. Wheel of Fortune. Okay, we like that. So the Wheel of Fortune is an interesting card because it requires patience, diligence, and also like action. I mentioned earlier that it's not like the game on TV that stole from this. And it's not like, when you flick the sort of needle on a board game. You're making cognitive decisions each and every day. This is what I value. This is what my time and energy is worth. And this is how much I'm willing to receive. And those choices make the wheel spin faster, better, bigger, brighter, or they slow it down. So I want you to really go bolder and boldly with that sort of vision and version of yourself that you want to put out there. Don't take your hands off the wheel. If we think our success and our joy and our power is beholden to some bigger force of nature, then we are doing ourselves a disservice. If we look at these three cards together, they actually work in tandem. You are source energy. You co-create with the source energy as well. Your current disconnect is in like being dispassionate or unhappy or uncertain, something in the heart space. Once you connect the heart back, then this accelerates and you get back into just basically the energy of plugging back into source. So give yourself permission to be happy, prioritize satisfaction in whatever it is that you're doing. Know that you are co-creating and creating this. And then with the Wheel of Fortune, ask if you need something. I never took business. Well, I took business courses in school. I didn't do like a business sort of trajectory. I took like economics and statistics and business administration, which are all wildly important. And I wish I'd taken enough to have a minor in business because all three of those I lean into heavily every day because they're important. I also had to take an ethics class, and I think that's an important thing that's lacking right now too. But I would say those four plus a public speaking class helped me arguably as much as any other class that I took, because you have to know how to speak, you have to know how to conduct yourself in business, and you have to know how to advocate for what it is that you want. So persuasive conversation to basically get what you need or want, and then being able to do something with that and continue to kind of work with it. So maybe this is a time where you can give yourself the foundations to be successful. So some of that might be training, investment. It's the machinery that goes behind the Wheel of Fortune. So this is a time to put some energy into that infrastructure as well, okay? Last piece with the Wheel of Fortune is it reminds me of a nautical wheel. And so you have to be able to see where you're going again and keep adjusting. You get to course correct all along the way. Very few people in their sort of careers can say, I set out to do this and I did it on the first try. Sometimes it happens. Usually there's some twists and some turns, and there's still some mistakes that are made along the way. So it's really just about course correcting and being very, very present. And that's the answer here. Let me look again at the main question, because the card brought a slew of other things. So rebuilding and reclaiming. So the most important thing to rebuild is to put your hands on that wheel and steer and say what you want, what you don't want. Keep an eye on money. Value yourself and value your time enough to say no to things that don't kind of factor out in the big picture. Okay? I think we covered everything, folks. Let's take a quick look, and then we're going to do the final card at the very end here. So let's see. We have just traveled through these channel messages, 7-day forecast, elemental forecast, viewer's choice, reader's choice, special topic. Yeah, we're going to now move on to the meditation, sound bath, and final card. Before I do it, just a quick reminder to like and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss out on something new. Feel free to join me across social media. It's always my first name, first and last name, I should say, Nicholas Ashbaugh, except for Twitter. You can find a link on my website, and Dakota's posted as well. Remember, I don't offer private readings and I don't use direct messages, so ignore anybody that does and know that that's not me. Thank you in advance. I see we've had a lot of new members and gifted members and super stickers and super chats. I'm going to say thank you at the very end. Let's get ready for the final part for today. So I always like to wrap up the reading with a combination here. We'll do a meditation, and then after the meditation, we'll also do a final card. The final card is your chance to ask me one thing that I didn't have a chance to cover. I do my best, but there's always usually one thing that we all have that we need to deal with. So whatever your final question is, hold it until the end, scribble it down on paper if you need to. And in the meantime, let's kind of, I think here for the meditation, we're going to use a ship, like a spaceship. We're going to see the world from a different angle, and we're going to imagine that you have the power to pull something in, like the tractor beam, okay? Close your eyes, relax, and take a nice deep breath with me. On the exhale, you can stretch out a little bit, letting go of any tension that you might be holding on to. If you feel a yawn coming, you can yawn. If you want to just let out a really big sigh, you can do that as well. All of these things help you let go of the tension in your mind and in your body. Imagine that you are at the top of a mountain, and there is a lovely spacecraft there. It can be a UFO, it can be anything that you want it to look like. It can be a rocket ship, I don't care. But for the sake of collective visualization, let's just imagine it's a traditional flying saucer. And there's a little opening at the bottom there. And interestingly enough, it's hovering above you. There are no stairs. There's no clear way to get in. So you stand beneath it, you close your eyes, and you imagine that you are ready, worthy, and capable of traveling up into the ship. And the minute that you connect with the capability or the ability and the worthiness, the tractor beam lights up. And just like floating in the water, you feel this sense of lightness, almost like you have no problems, no worries. The tractor beam is going to pull the best energy available to you up into that ship. It's going to leave fears, doubts, and uncertainty behind. As you go through the light, which is basically what's happening here, you're being cleared and cleansed of anything that no longer serves you or suits you. And now you find yourself behind the navigational controls of this spaceship. In my book that I wrote a few years back, I imagined that ships like this would probably be psychic. You could just close your eyes and imagine yourself flying or being in the destination of your desire. So imagine that you could do that right now. See yourself in space and time being able to go where you need to go. And imagine, more importantly, because we want to use the tractor beam energy, that you can start to pull in something that you want. For those of you that are single and looking, see yourself first and foremost as whole, as worthy, as complete. Look for someone else who is complete, who has done the work, who is ready. And allow your heart to work through that tractor beam to call that person into your life, kind of like a bat signal. And all you have to do, we're just sending the call. We don't have to see the item coming up through the tractor beam. We're using the beam as a spotlight to pull things into your life. For those looking for money, opportunity, and abundance, maybe the tractor beam turns a different color, like green or gold. And you're going to see like power or passion connecting with that future thing or opportunity that you want. Know in this moment that you are successful, you are capable, and you're ready to receive abundance in the highest form. For those of you looking for health, well-being, or healing, maybe you imagine a completely different, maybe it's a rainbow-colored tractor beam, because you're not just looking for one thing, you want the spectrum. You've learned that happiness is not just wealth, it's not just love, it's a combination of things. So you're sending out a beam that's going to be multicolored. Go ahead and see all of those beams going out across the globe. Know that your prayer has been heard, that your beam is out there, and that you're now starting to feel something connecting with the beam. And now it's just a matter of speeding up the synchronicity. A synchronicity is going to happen. All you have to do now is to be open. So open your heart, open your eyes, open your mind. And while you're doing that, I'm going to play the singing bowl here. And then we'll pull a final card at the end and look and see what your last question is for me. In the meantime, all you have to do is close your eyes and relax. Take a last deep breath. Exhale. Navigate that ship back to your home, back to your place where you're at right now. See your mind, body, and spirit filter again through the tractor beam, which is whatever color you programmed it to be. And know that as your body and your mind and your energy goes through the tractor beam one more time, again, it's a cleansing experience, allowing only the highest energies to exist, leaving the tractor beam with the idea that you are ready to receive abundance in all the highest forms. Okay. On the next natural exhale, go ahead and open your eyes and focus on whatever final question you have for me. We'll take a look and see what Spirit has to say. We have a very celebratory card. It feels like we got the can't remember if we got the Three of Cups last time too. It popped up recently in a few different spreads, but as a yes, no, it's a yes. As a yes, no, it's a yes, but you are going to probably require or be aided by the help of others. This is an acknowledgement that there's a lot of celebrations around the corner and that you should say yes to some of them. You can't say no to everything. This is coming out of your hermitage shell. The Three of Cups in reverse can be an unlikely social butterfly, even if you are typically very private. You have the capacity to shine in a group of people, and it might be a little exhausting, but it's kind of like what would we call that? You're an extroverted introvert. So when you're needing to put that that shine on, you can do it. Just take care of yourself. I don't think you have to say yes to everything, but you shouldn't say no either to everything. You could meet the next key person in your life at one of those events. This can be incoming love or partnership. This is also saying gratitude is ever so important in this period of time, because the Three of Cups is celebrating the little victories in each and every day. That you got through the day without anything going wrong. You're still able to take care of yourself. You know, when, because this year, as you know, I had a family member that was sick. When I saw them, they were going to need like full hospice care at some point. It brought home the importance of just being able to like eat and breathe and clean yourself, because this is my mom. She wouldn't have been able to do that had she survived. And that would have been a very different level of existence. So the fact that you're all able to just be here and type and breathe and be present, there are blessings abundant in that in and of itself. So that changed my perspective on how to give gratitude. Thank you. Anytime you have an injury, I can't wait to get this stupid cast off, but like, it's an air boot now, but just being able to walk is a blessing. So walking, breathing, eating, taking care of yourself, being lucky enough to have a healthy pet or child or partner in your life. All of these things are also the Three of Cups. What brings you joy? Take some time today to do something that brings you joy. Don't put it on the back burner. The only warning with the Three of Cups is anything that you say negative is going to get back to whomever you're saying it about. So don't gossip. Don't do anything cruel. It's reciprocated in a way that you won't expect, so you don't want to do that. But other than that, it's all good stuff with the Three of Cups. We like it. Don't go to extremes. Since we do have holiday season coming around, this is saying don't overdo it with the sweets or with the drinking or with the partying. It's all in moderation, okay? And that, my friends, brings today to a close. I want to say thank you to, if you're brand new, welcome. I want to say thanks to Dakota for help with moderation. To all my longtime viewers and subscribers and members as well. I'm going to take a moment now to welcome some of the newest, but I wanted to start by saying thanks to everyone that's been here since 2015. It's been a while, folks, hasn't it? All right, let's take a look first at the newest members, because I know we had someone today who was really kind and gifted some new ones, so thank you. So CML, welcome. A brand new member. Victoria Cervantes, welcome. Carrie Simpson, welcome. Welcome back, Dina Johnson. Welcome back, Autumn Fires. And welcome, Lorna Smith. Let's see, Shayna Riley as well. I think that's everybody from today, because we had about 5 new ones and a few that did it earlier today. So welcome to all those members. I appreciate you. Let me say thanks to those that gave super stickers and super chat next. And then we'll wrap up. Okay, so for today, let's take a look and see who kicked it off. It was Fistian. Thank you so much for getting things started. Let's see. Neshama or Nekama, thank you very much. Lucy Rodriguez, Sonette LaRue, Roxy, Chloe, Michael Rab, Lisa Rivas, April Rain, thank you so much for the 50, April, I appreciate it. Juliana Versari, Yoga Rising, Raquel Ramirez, Yvette Sanchez, 2 in a row, thanks a lot. Crystal Whitworth, thank you again for the 50 there too. Jeannie Hart, Isabella, Katie Shore, let's see, Cece Panda Bear, Boom, that's a cool name. Ada T, I think it is. Diane, Crystal Water, Whitworth, thank you again. I saw you did a couple today, I appreciate that. Paula, let's see, Kosh, I think it is. Esmeralda, thank you very much. Ms. Optimistic, Sarah Vaz, Mermaid Crystal, let's see, Darren Kowski, I think it is. Kador, Josie Lett, Wendy Wright, Emma Soares, Carmen Dickinson, Sunflower, and Juhili, I think it is. And let me see if I missed anybody that was late to contribute here. Let's see. I think that's it. Yes, so thank you so much, everybody. Today was such a beautiful energy. And I think the important thing, like we said today, is to connect the heart space. The heart has to be there. You have to find balance in your life first. And there were so many balance cards. When you have the balance, the universe recognizes that and then brings more sustaining and more balancing energies with you, and to you, I should say. Just a quick reminder on the upcoming schedule. I think I might adjust it because we have US Thanksgiving coming up. So I'm usually live every Monday, Thursday, and Friday. I probably am going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday so that I can take off Thanksgiving, but we will see. I will message you and I'll try to post a weekly schedule and put the videos up. Since I'm back in a live thing, I'll try to put the next 2 or 3 up this week. Otherwise, we'll be back into the normal schedule. And again, I'm live every Sunday for a weekend collective or weekly collective. And I do my daily readings. I may do a bonus one this month because there's a couple extra days that last week of the month. So we'll see. I might do something special. I might do something for members. More to come as the days progress. Again, thank you everybody for showing up today. I'm going to bring this little guy out for a walk. You want to go outside, buddy? Want to wake up? He's like, not yet. Not until I hear some food or I see my chain and I'm ready for a walk. So anyway, lots of love and light to all of you. Thanks again to Dakota for your help. Have a good day, everybody, and a great week ahead. And a good U.S. Thanksgiving if I don't see those of you in the U.S. that are going to have this coming up. Until then, take care. Lots of love and light. Wishing you all the best. Bye-bye.